Good morning and welcome to our second maths lesson this week, all about comparing fractions. Now, as you know, I love pizza. So I would like the biggest piece of pizza that I can possibly have. So someone says to me, you can either have 2/3 of a pizza or 4/9 of a pizza. And I want to know, well, which of those fractions is bigger? Is it the one that's got a 4 as the numerator, because that means there's more pieces, or not? I can't compare these fractions straight away because they've got different denominators. They're in different nouns. I can't compare oranges and apples, so I can't compare thirds and ninths. I need to make the noun, the denominator, the same. So I need to find the common denominator. To do this, I need to find multiples of the denominators to work out which one they've got in common. So to do this, I'm going to write the times tables down the side. So I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 9. Oh, I don't need to go any further because I've found a multiple that is common. 9 is in both times tables, so I can turn both of these fractions into ninths. So what have I times 3 by to get to 9? 3, 6, 9. I've timesed it by 3. So what am I going to times the numerator by? Because what I do to the denominator, I also do to the numerator. So I'm going to times it by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So these two fractions are equivalent. 2/3 is equivalent to 6/9. And if I drew this, there's my two equal parts. If I then cut this into ninths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The shaded part has not changed. I've just cut it into more pieces. And I've cut each third into 3 pieces. And that's what it means when we're timesing by 3. We are cutting each of those thirds into 3 pieces, so that now we've got 9 pieces. Those 2 pieces that we had have been cut into 3 pieces, so now there is 6 of those pieces. If I look at 4/9, 4/9 is already cut into ninths, so I don't need to change that denominator. Now I look at the fractions, which one is bigger? Would I rather have 6/9 or 4/9? Hopefully you are telling me that I'd rather have 6/9 of the pizza because that fraction is bigger because the numerator is bigger when the denominator is the same. This time my options are 1/3 of the pizza or 2/8 of the pizza. Again, I cannot compare these fractions because the denominator is different. So, to work out which one of these fractions is bigger than the other one, to compare them, I need to make the denominator the same. And I'm going to do this by finding a common multiple, a number in the 3 times table and in the 8 times table. So, I'm going to write down the 3 times table. Then I'm going to write down the 8 times table. And if I look at these, I can see the number they've got in common is 24. So I'm going to turn both these fractions into 24ths. Now, to turn thirds into 24ths, I need to cut each of those thirds into 8 pieces because I'm timesing by 8. So then I need to chop the numerator into 8 pieces. 1 times 8 is 8. And if you weren't sure about that, use this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to help you. Now I need to turn the 8ths into 24ths. So I times 8 by 3 to get 24. So I times the numerator by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So which one of my fractions is larger? Hopefully you're telling me it's this one because there are 8 24ths compared to 6 24ths. This question from White Rose is telling us that Teddy is comparing 3/8 and 5/12. Teddy thinks that to find the lowest common multiple, he could multiply 8 and 12 together. This would get 96, and then that could be the common denominator. Is Teddy correct? And I want you to pause this video and think about, is that the best common denominator for Teddy to use? Hopefully, you can see that although you could use 96 as the common denominator, it's not the lowest common multiple. And this is a mistake that lots and lots of people make. They think, oh, well, I'll just times the denominators together and that's going to help me find the common denominator. That will find you a common denominator, but it's not always the lowest one, and therefore it's not always the easiest. With this problem, if I start writing my times tables down, or if you're good at your times tables, which I know a lot of you are, you can just do this mentally in your heads. Hopefully you can see that actually you could have used 24 as a common denominator. Now, going into 24ths is easier than going into 96 because it's less maths and the numbers are smaller. So this time I've times by 3, so I times my numerator by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. My 12ths, I cut each 12th into 2 to get to 24. So 5 times 2 is 10. Which ones of my fractions is larger? This one, because there's 10 24ths. So yes, you could have turned it into 96, but the lowest common multiple, and therefore the easiest, is 24ths. Now if we look at this question, what do you think is the most effective strategy here? Do you think it's writing down your times tables, or is it multiplying the denominators together? This is when you need to use your knowledge of times tables to think about, well, actually, what is the most effective strategy? 7 and 11, I've done the first few times tables for the 7 times table. I've worked out the first few in the 11 times table, and I know that there's no common multiple. So actually for this, the easiest way to find this common denominator is to do 7 times 11, which is 77. So with this question, like we've just said, the common denominator is going to be 77. What have I times 7 by to get to 77? 11. So what do I times the numerator by? 11. 3 times 11 is 33. Here, what have I times 11 by to get to 77? Times it by 7. So what do I times the numerator by? Also 7. 6 times 7 is 42. So if these are my two fractions, which one is bigger? Hopefully you can tell me that it's this one. Now, if I wanted you to put a more than or less than sign here in a box, which way round would it go? Would it go this way or would it go this way? Well, the crocodile always eats the biggest number. This is the biggest number, so the crocodile's mouth is snapping that way to eat the biggest one. So you should have done this sign here to show that 33/77 is less than 42/77. Why is this problem different? Hopefully you can see that this time we've got more than one fraction to compare, which can make this a little bit trickier. So this time I'm going to look to see if I can find a common denominator of all three. Now, using my times tables, I can see that 12 could be a common denominator of all three of these fractions. 9/12 is already in 12, so I don't need to turn that one into 12. That one stays as it is. For this one, I've times 6 by 2 to get to 12, so I times 4 by 2, which is 8. For thirds, I would times 3 by 4 to get to 12. So I times the numerator by 4, which would also be 8. So here I can see that 9/12 is the biggest. And 8/12 and 8/12 actually are equal. Have a go at working out which of these fractions is the biggest and which one is the smallest. If you pause this video, you can have a go, and then I'm going to go through the answers. So I'm looking at this one and I can see straight away that one fraction is definitely bigger than the other one. These two have got the same denominator. So I can straight away see that 2/3 is going to be bigger than 1/3. Now, I can see what you can do now is you can either decide to turn all of them into the same denominator, or you can just turn one of them into a different denominator, knowing that this one is always going to be smaller than this one. I'm going to turn all of them into the same denominator just to make it easier for you to see. So I'm using my times tables. I can see that the common denominator is going to be 9. So 6/9 won't change. It's already in ninths. 3 times 3 is 9, so 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9, so 1 times 3 is 3. So again, these two are actually equal, and this one is smaller than the other two. Right, this is going to be our last one before we go on to Hegarty Maths. So I want you to have a go at comparing these three fractions. Pause the video, have a go, and then I'll talk you through the answers. So with this one, I can't compare them straight away because the denominators are different. So I need to do my times table to work out a common denominator. And I think my common denominator is going to be 24. So, first of all, I need to turn them all into 24ths. 4 times what is 24? Well, it's times 6, so 1 times 6 is 6. 8 times what is 24? 8 times 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. 12 times what is 24? Well, that's 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So, if I was going to rewrite these fractions, so they go from biggest to smallest, we go from the biggest to the smallest, that is descending order. The biggest one is this one, so the biggest one is 3/8. And that one is bigger than this one, which was 1/4, which is bigger than this one, which was the smallest, which was 2. Now have a go at Hegarty Maths number 60. If you're struggling to get on Hegarty Maths, don't worry, it's just because lots of people are trying to get on. So refresh it, or if you're still having problems, just leave it and try it a little bit later. Right, good luck. See you later.